The truth occurs.
Hi everyone. Well, terrible news. There was a bombing at the Boston Marathon yesterday. 100 people injured, many of them very seriously, and 3 people killed. Obviously, this is very tragic, and my thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families. Of note, during this bombing, which occurred on Patriots Day, there were actually bomb drills going on, so that's very suspicious. And some people are already thinking that it could be a false flag. So I'm going to share with you what I've found in my investigations, and then please just leave me your comments and let me know what you think. Police shut down everything, and cell phone communication was cut off. They were doing searches on people's backpacks. They reported at the time that there were additional suspicious packages in front of a hotel was one, and some others. These turned out not to be bombs. There was also a fire at the JFK library nearby, which was suspected at first to be related. Turned out that it was not related. Now in this article here, they reported that the police had found no surveillance video showing the bombs being put in place, but were continuing to comb through video from nearby businesses, etc. However, on this website, it stated that a police officer had said that she overheard police saying they have video of the suspect dropping bombs into the garbage cans. Alright, now here's something really weird. So Mike Adams reported here on Natural News, Boston Marathon bombing happened on same day as controlled explosion drill by Boston Bomb Squad. And I noticed that in the comments, at least one person said, "Oh, Mike Adams, you're wrong, there was no drill. You're just getting this confused. They set off the third bomb, which was at the library." As I mentioned, it turned out that there was no bomb at the library, it was a fire. And no, in fact, there actually was a drill. Mike Adams was right about this, and you can read more about it here. Coach says bomb-sniffing dogs, spotters on roofs before explosions. Well, according to these reports, there were bomb-sniffing dogs at the start and end of the race in place, and spotters on the roofs, and apparently they were making announcements even to people saying, relax, it's just a drill. They were saying that they were doing a bomb drill before the explosions happened. Now that's very weird, and it kind of reminds a lot of us of 9/11, where they were doing a drill, 7/7 they were doing a drill, also in subway, lots of things like that. They were doing drills at the same time, so it's kind of like a really bad sign. It's also possible that they weren't doing a drill, they had had a tip-off. That was the reason why they had their bomb-sniffing dogs there, because they knew that something could go wrong, that maybe there was actually a bomb threat, and they just didn't want to alarm people. And if that's the case, I'd have to ask, well, you know, if there was a bomb threat at an event like that, and you were concerned enough to bring in bomb-sniffing dogs, why didn't you evacuate the area? Because obviously the dogs didn't do a very good job. They didn't find the bombs, and a lot of people ended up getting hurt and dying. So if they were concerned, why didn't they just evacuate? This article here says that there were no credible threats ahead of the race, according to a state government official. But if there were no credible threats ahead of the race, why did they have bomb-sniffing dogs there? If they weren't there on a tip, that would mean that they were there doing a drill, which is just extremely suspicious. I mean, what kind of a coincidence would that be? The guys at IntelliHub also find it highly suspicious, and they say, what better day than Patriots Day to stage a false flag to blame on patriot groups? Remember the Patriot Act, this event will certainly be big enough to draw national attention as it was designed to do. So could it have been a false flag? Well, the fact that they were doing a drill when they say that they had no credible evidence that there could be a threat, I find that very strange. But this just goes to show, like, look, if this was a real terrorist act, and they had bomb-sniffing dogs there, and we're in a kind of police/surveillance state as it is here in North America, and with all that security, they couldn't prevent this, well, that just goes to show that there's no way to make security airtight. So although they'll probably use this as a reason to ramp up security, probably there's no point in ramping up security, because it's impossible to be completely safe, and all you're going to do is live in a state of fear and lose more of your freedoms. So, you know, what's the point? So again, I find it, you know, this is obviously very tragic, and my prayers are with the families. And at the same time, I'm kind of wondering, maybe whether this was some kind of a setup. I just hope it's not. Well, either way, it's terrible. But, well, let me know what you think. And please keep the victims and their families in your prayers. And thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.